Good morning. You're listening to First Talk with Hal Rowe on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Normally, we're the first Monday of every month just before the 8 o'clock hour, but there was so much to share this time around. We've moved Chamber Chat, expanded it. Chamber Chat this morning with your Catawba County Chamber of Commerce. Joining us this morning in the studio is Emily Jaynes. She's the Shareholder Relations and Event Manager. She coordinates the Ambassador Program for the Catawba County Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Catawba County. We'll be talking about that this morning. Erica Boustead, co-owner of FOURK, Business Development at SERVPRO of Alexander, Caldwell, and Burke and Catawba Counties, and A.J. Kerley, Director of Professional Relations with Pace at Home. Both of the aforementioned there, the two, Erica Boustead and A.J. Kerley, are ambassadors with the Chamber. Emily Jaynes, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Tell me about the Ambassador Program. You coordinate this. Tell us a little bit about it with the Chamber of Catawba County.
So our Ambassador Program is truly what we would consider and call an extension to our staff. So they are individuals that represent different businesses and organizations within the community, and they really come out, help support us, but also support our businesses. So they meet with them regularly, just like we do. They're at our events and really just provide continual support to our community.
Now, about how many ambassadors do you have at this time?
This year we have 17 different organizations and businesses represented through ambassadors.
Okay, now do you say different organizations? So you could have maybe an organization and they have different people that may show up at different times, or is it generally one ambassador for a group or organization?
Generally just one per organization.
Okay. And do you try to, I don't know if you try to do this or not, but do you try to make it exclusive for a group or organization? Like if you had, for example, broadcasters, only one broadcaster is ambassador, or all the broadcasters are welcome?
All broadcasters are welcome. It's really who shows an interest and who we feel would be a wonderful fit that's typically already involved with us. Most of the time they approach us and want to be more plugged in, and so that's a great avenue that we connect them with.
Now, when does the Ambassador Program kick up for the year?
Sure.
And when does it kind of, you look for new ambassadors?
So we begin looking for new ambassadors around the end of the year.
Okay.
There is an application process that is involved. So they will complete that process, and then they will begin, they go through an actual training process.
Okay.
They will complete that at the beginning of the year and then set right into the community and get started.
Will ambassadors actually go out and make client calls with members of the chamber? Because I know you did a great job of explaining it, but I want to get just a little bit more into the nuts and bolts, because I see him at a lot of the events.
Yeah.
Mr. Appleson, Pat Appleson, who I think does a great job going out and does the photography, and everybody's kind of smiling because everybody knows Pat. But he'll go out, and I see some of the folks there on a regular basis, and generally these are the ambassadors. But other than that, showing up and shaking hands and helping with ribbon cuttings, will they actually go out and make calls? Will they promote the chamber in a representative type way? Because you said often they're often involved, but other than the casual, maybe you're at a ball game and you say, yeah, I love it. Will they actually go out and make a person-to-person call?
They do. They are all tasked. They are split up into groups when they begin the ambassador program, and they work together within their team, and they go out, meet with those businesses and communities that they have been assigned to. So they do a lot of the work that we do regularly. They make phone calls, they send emails, they drop in, touch base with individuals, and help connect the dots as needed.
Very good. Well, let's talk with one of the ambassadors. Let's talk with Ms. Kerley first, A.J. Kerley. I'm going to get you to lean over to the mic because you've been with the Chamber as an ambassador for a while now. Let's talk about that. A.J. Kerley, Director of Professional Relations, and that's with Pace at Home. First of all, your chance, give us a commercial for Pace at Home. Tell me about Pace at Home.
Pace at Home. Yeah, thanks, Hal. I'll definitely do that. So Pace at Home, I've been with them for about 6 years, but we are providing services to those individuals who are 55 and older, who very well could live in a nursing home setting but do not want to. So with our program, we allow them the ability to stay at home in the comforts of their own home and provide them with all the services they need to do that safely, whether it's home services or in our facility services in Catawba County.
Are you kind of like a clearinghouse? Will you be able to tell people if you want to stay at home, for wheelchairs, you need to do this, for whatever services they may be, you're able to set them up with different groups and organizations, or do you actually provide the services?
We provide all that. We're an all-inclusive managed care model, so we provide everything from the equipment to the services to the medicines.
Are you a not-for-profit or are you a for-profit company?
Not-for-profit.
Non-for-profit. Very
Yes.
good. How many right now working with, how many folks do you have?
We have about 121 families we're working with right now.
Wow, I had no idea. 121 families. Well, way
And
to
we're
go.
celebrating 10 years.
10 years.
This
Well,
year.
Congratulations on that. I did not know it had been 10 years. So now tell me about your role as an ambassador. What do you do as an ambassador? Or let's say that your favorite thing to do as an ambassador.
Probably get to know the other businesses in the community that I would not have contact with otherwise.
Okay.
It's been great to form business relationships and talk about PACE, as well as learn about what they do for the community and potentially see how we could work together in some instances. But it's been nice to form those lasting relationships that I've been able to connect with people that, like I said, I would not otherwise connect with.
Now, you're a director of professional relations at PACE. What does that job entail at PACE at home?
Well, with PACE, I provide the education in the community, but I
Okay.
work a lot with our existing partnerships and acquire new partnerships as we need those.
Perfect for you then as an ambassador.
Yes, I talk a lot, and I love that, so it's great. Yeah.
But you're able to do that. You're able to say, okay, well, how can this plug in, or what do you have that we may need, and what we can provide for you? You have that opportunity.
Correct. As an ambassador, you're looking for several different ways to help that business you're meeting with or emailing or having a phone call with. You're wanting to see what their needs are, how do they serve the community, and how can the chamber help that maybe there's a gap, or how can PACE help? Maybe we can fill a gap that you haven't thought about either.
Gotcha. Now let's pretend that I'm Mr. Pace.
Okay.
And I say, okay, now this is great, Miss Kerley, but what's my return on investment here? I mean, you're going out and you're spending all this time going out and lollygagging and having a great time at all these openings and grand, ribbon cuttings. But how's this helping me? Because you're earning a paycheck here. Show me my return on investment, or tell me about it.
Well, the return on investment, because of the relationships I've built in the last 4 years, we have gotten inquiries through that. Somebody who knew me through the chamber or met me through the chamber has given my information or our organization's information to someone else. It's kind of a domino effect. I meet one person, they may not need my service, but they may connect me to somebody else. And that has happened several times, whether it be at a ribbon cutting, I've met somebody with a business that actually is healthcare related that can use us, and vice versa, or it's maybe somebody that just deals with seniors in some way, whether it be real estate, mortgage, things like that. And that's the way I connect too. Because the one thing that that I have not done in the last 6 years is have tunnel vision, because I know that everybody across industry lines could benefit from PACE and knowing what we do, and could connect some family that they work with our organization.
So you're actually not just being a rep when you go out as a chamber representative. Yes, you're representing the chamber as an ambassador, but you're also able to go out and talk about the benefits, the company, and let people know more about a PACE at Home, not just the chamber. So obviously you're a representative for PACE at Home out in the community at every opportunity.
Yes.
It increases your opportunities to make more connections for PACE.
It does, and I think it's a win-win on both sides, seeing the needs of the businesses in the community, but also seeing how it could potentially work with PACE.
Do you get a chance to move on up? Are you like a senior ambassador now because you've been doing this for a while? Like, do you get the better gigs or anything like that, or does it's just where it happens?
No, it's just where it happens. We
and
get our
as
list.
much as you put into it, right?
Yeah, well, I think you get out of it what you put into it. So I'm all in when it comes to the ambassador program, because I see what it's done over the past 4 years for me. And I guess the step up would be team lead. I've been team lead for 2 years, I think, maybe 3, but 2 years at least.
Right. And is this something that you'd like to continue to do?
I think so. I think it's very beneficial. I mean, you can't meet people in the community unless you're connected, and the chamber's the best way to do that.
Very good. So nice to talk with you this morning. I've
Thank
seen you
you
around, and we've said hi, and we've kind of talked a little bit, but this is the first time I've really had a chance to talk to you about that. So it's very nice to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
Erica Boustead, co-owner of FOURK Business Development at SERVPRO of Alexander, Caldwell, Burke, and Chamber. Whichever one you want to do the commercial for, you can split them up. Do one for FOURK and do one for SERVPRO. But instead of doing a 60-second, you got to do 2 30s.
You got it.
So let's start off with FOURK.
So I'm SERVPRO by day, FOURK by night. So during the day, I do business development and relationship building for SERVPRO.
Okay.
I can't sell you a flood or a fire, but if heaven forbid that do happen to you, your business or homeowner, you think of us in the relationship there.
It's like nothing ever happened.
Exactly. We make it like it never even happened.
Right.
And I get joy in helping people and seeing them get things back to normal.
Sure. Now about FOURK. How about FOURK?
So FOURK, we are going on over 7 years.
Really?
And
7 years, wow.
Yes, sir. My relationship with the chamber started then. I'll never forget our ribbon cutting and how the chamber helped FOURK. We didn't have a lot of money for advertising, and this was the first and best way for us to get connected to the community.
Very good. So now tell me, you're brand new as a ambassador. Is that right? This is your first year?
Yes, sir.
It seems like it's been a while, though, because I've seen you out there, and you have really, I guess what you've done is you've tried to make the very, it was like Mrs. Kerley was talking about, you get out of it what you put into it. But I guess that you are trying to, at every opportunity, get out there as an ambassador and talk about the chamber and talk about, I guess, FOURK and SERVPRO. We'll talk more about that when we return. More First Talk on the way. You're listening to First Talk with Hal Rowe on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. We're talking about the Ambassador Program this morning. Emily Jaynes, Shareholder Relation and Events Manager. She coordinates the Ambassador Program for the Chamber of Catawba County. A.J. Kerley joins us as well, Director of Professional Relations. You have seen her. You may not know her, but if you've ever looked at a grand opening or been to a ribbon cutting, you know Miss Kerley because she has been there and is a big supporter of the chamber and is out there at the ribbon cuttings and making a difference for the chamber. As I believe Ms. Jaynes said, really considered almost part-time staff because you're out there and you're doing the job. You're shaking the hands, you're meeting people and representing the chamber. And Erica Boustead joins us this morning, co-owner of FOURK Business Development at SERVPRO of Alexander, Caldwell, Burke, and Catawba counties. If you've ever been to the Chamber Golf Classic or any of the golf tournaments, generally Ms. Boustead is there with that delicious popcorn in the red cups that we know. And that's one of the things. It's branding, right? So you know that SERVPRO is going to be there. It's like, oh, here we're at the popcorn machine. SERVPRO is going to be there. And that's part of what you do is going out and doing these types of things as well so that people get to know you, know about your products and services. And that's part of what you do as an ambassador, correct?
That's correct. I think building relationships is key, especially being involved in the community. And attending the chamber events became more and more important to me with FOURK as well as SERVPRO. So I actually approached Emily to ask her for an ambassador application last year.
And this is, and I guess one of the big questions too is why the chamber? There's a lot of other ways that you could do this. There's a lot of avenues, but why the chamber? Why did you feel it was important to be plugged in with them?
They're very involved in the community, and they offer entrepreneurs and small businesses a big helping hand whenever it comes to networking with other businesses as well as promoting your own business. We had $0 for advertising when we opened our restaurant.
Right.
I had been involved with the chamber from a previous career, and so had my husband.
Okay.
And that was kind of the natural way to go because they're so involved in the community, and they helped us promote our business during the pandemic.
Right.
They were crucial to allowing us to maintain our success. They offered conference calls weekly, advice.
Now, these conference calls that you were talking about, that's pandemic time, right?
Correct.
So tell me about that. Because you are, with FOURK, that's people coming in, and all of a sudden everything's shut down. It was like right before St. Patrick's Day, boom, we're closing up everything. And then, of course, you had the, I guess, later on you had SERVPRO, which where you're going into people's homes. And that's not something that, thank heavens, occurs every single day. So having that contact during the pandemic and having the conference calls had to be a great help to you, right?
It was. It kept us connected within the community, and it offered us an avenue to share ideas with the chamber as well as other business owners. The chamber also stayed connected with other chambers to get ideas from them as well.
Right.
They even came up with the program Open and Safe.
Right.
So it was a dual purpose from SERVPRO and FOURK in the way that the chamber helped us navigate through the pandemic because none of us has ever been through this before.
No one had ever been there.
And those conference calls sometimes were just idea sharing, but also networking and giving us ideas on how to navigate through such a trying time.
For me, I'm thinking it would be also be an opportunity for me to bemoan what was going on. It's like, oh,
that as well. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is killing me. What are we going to do? And because sometimes misery loves company, but not just that, you have somebody to talk to and understand that you're not by yourself,
right.
That you're not going through this. You're not the only one in the community who may be going through something like, and sometimes it's just that camaraderie, that esprit de corps, whether it's in good times or bad times. Sometimes that's helpful just to know that you're not, by yourself.
Exactly.
What do you say to somebody who, the owner of FOURK or the owner of SERVPRO or the owner of a place that does not have someone involved as an ambassador? What do you tell the higher ups, the folks who are managing these companies, about getting involved with the program, with the ambassador program? you're talking to somebody this morning and they maybe don't have anybody involved as an ambassador. What do you tell them? How to get their folks involved, but why?
The why is because the chamber is involved in the community, and you, as a chamber member, get what you put into it. And in the beginning, I didn't put that much effort into it. And as I had more and more interaction,
right,
I saw the benefits of the networking and building relationships and businesses referring other businesses. AJ, for example, she didn't realize I was connected with the Lady Elks nonprofit organization.
Right.
So we invited her to come and speak about PACE at Home services to
Right.
our Lady Elks group.
So that had to be very helpful. I'm going to just guess, I don't know, but I'm going to guess that out of that came some very some positive things. You may have gotten leads from that. Someone comes up to you afterwards and says, you're exactly what my mom has been looking for. Or we have a sister in a situation who may need some help in your services. So you're able to do that. So move that microphone around to you just a little bit there, Ms. Kerley. Thank you very much. So to the folks at PACE and to your, do you have a time where you report in, where you generate leads? Or they pretty much say, we trust you, Ms. Kerley, go do what you need to do? Or do you actually talk to the folks in management and say, hey, this is what's going on. This lead came in and it's directly because of, so someone go handle this because this came in as part of what I do as an ambassador.
Well, we do talk on a regular basis. I talk with intake. We look at the referrals, the calls coming in. We track those, and I do report to upper management and the board to let them know where referrals coming from. And to be quite honest, as I tell them all the time, referrals come from everywhere.
Right.
They come from civic groups I've presented to in the community. They've come through the chamber and leads groups and connections I've made. So we talk about that, and we keep that up to date. Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be, and the reason I ask that is because if someone's listening now and they're in that position in management, they gotta be thinking, wow, I can generate leads, I can be part of a network, I can make sure that, and this has got to be satisfying, I would think, to some of the employees who have an opportunity to maybe get out of the cubicle or to get out of doing calls in a very specific way, to be able to connect with the community.
Yes, it's a great experience, and it's a great connector because, like I said before, I would not be making some of the connections I've made without the chamber.
Were it not for the chamber. Mm-hmm. Swing that mic on around because we're going to talk to Ms. Jaynes before we wrap up this morning. How do we go about getting involved with the ambassador program at this point? Do we call you now and say, hey, we know it's not until the end of the year, but we want to get in and start talking about this? What's the best way to get connected?
So the best way is honestly just to reach out to whether myself or anyone at the chamber. They can help you get connected. You can call or email. It's never too early. So once those applications start to roll out, if someone has expressed any form of an interest, or we just feel like you would be a really great fit for it, we will actually send out those connections. And we have a time period, of course, that the application is due back to us.
Okay.
But we're very transparent about all of that, and you'll know there is a too late, but there's always next year.
Okay, gotcha. Now you have about 17 individuals or groups or organizations split into 4 different groups. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is there a little competition, a little friendly competition that goes on there?
There is a little friendly competition. How better to motivate people than to let them compete? But there is a competition between the groups. Those points that they are awarded come through going to the events, participating in the events, volunteering for the events, as well as those community contacts.
Very good.
That's the largest part that we really want our ambassadors to do, is to get out into the community, to meet those business leaders that, like AJ said, maybe they wouldn't have otherwise.
So that's helpful for the chamber, helpful for them as individuals as well.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you all for joining us this morning and helping us find out a little bit more about the ambassador program. We've been talking with Erica Boustead, co-owner of FOURK Business Development at SERVPRO of Alexander, Caldwell, Burke, and Catawba counties, AJ Kerley, Director of Professional Relations, PACE at Home, and Emily Jaynes, Shareholder Relations and Event Manager. She coordinates the ambassador program for the Chamber of Catawba County. We're going to go ahead and close the way we normally do with our national anthem. Thanks so much for joining us on First Talk. We know you have a choice in morning radio. That's why we appreciate you choosing the First Talk radio program. Be grateful for what you got. Make it a great day. We'll talk tomorrow on First Talk with Hal Rowe right here on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro.
First Talk with Hal.